North, adding a little something to our Christmas week Sunday morning and Inside Tennessee. We're glad to have you with us, and we hope you had a wonderful holiday. We welcome in our panel, and John has been off for what, the month of December?
He has like energy and he's had a vacation.
Unbelievable.
It's amazing what vacations do for your...
Yes, indeed.
No kidding.
It's great to have you back.
Thank
in the
you,
saddle, my friend. As always, with us, Susan Richardson Williams, who is a Republican and runs her own PR firm.
Good morning, Johns.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Don.
And Don Bosch runs his own law firm. He's a Democrat.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. Okay, for those of you who are new to this game, this is one of our favorite parts of the year. We recap 2024 and look at the winner, loser, and issue that these folks predicted. So they predicted this before January 1. So we're gonna revisit how well you predicted these folks. We go local, state, national, and politician of the year. So let's start local, and let's start with your winners. Don, you predicted the winner of 2024 would be Judge Hector Sanchez, and Susan, you predicted Jackie.
I missed that one, Jackie Raley. I missed that one.
A lot of people
Bill
in the
Ballard.
city-county
Bill
building were
Ballard
like,
did. It was
what?
very close. 12, wasn't it 12 votes?
It was close enough.
Yeah.
And for people who need some background on that race, explain what happened.
It was a property assessor, and Phil Ballard had been there before. Jackie was new. She had always worked in the property assessor's office, but was new as far as running. And so Phil had a lot of name ID and won, but I think it was 12. It was
It
really
was very close.
12 votes.
It surprised the other side, that's for sure.
And you picked the judge. Why, Don?
Well, he was new, and he really was going to have to show his chops and prove himself, and he has. He has done a very good job, and you know, I always have a little bit of skepticism as a criminal defense lawyer when a prosecutor takes the bench, and Judge Sanchez was a prosecutor formerly, but he has been fair, he has been respectful to the parties, he has been prepared. He has done. This is one that Susan and I a lot of times have trouble with. If it's not a major election year,
right.
And I can say that we had trouble this year trying to identify local who was politician of the year. The national sometimes obviously is not too difficult, but I stand by. I feel like that was a good pick, and I stand by it, and he proved to be true.
Again, he's the local winner. So let's move to your local loser, and both of you together had Daniel Herrera, former chair of the Republican Party.
That seems like a long time
He
ago.
lost
now.
early in the year, but he did.
He did lose.
And he's been kind of quiet and really not part of the
gone away
Republican
for a
scene,
while,
has he?
yeah.
Do y'all see him at any more meetings? Okay.
I don't see him much at the city-county building, I don't think.
Well, you said the issue of the year was going to be in 2024 the collaboration on helping people between the city and county. That's what you said, Don. And you said the issue was going to be mental health, Susan.
Well, and we've seen that. We've seen some interest in this General Assembly. We're trying to build a mental health facility here, something to replace Lakeshore. And so I think there is a good bit of interest in that. Maybe we'll see something happen this next year.
When we had the Speaker of the House on, though, he did interject and say, Knoxville's probably not going to be the place, right, John?
Yeah, well, what he said is, we're looking at a place where the state has a lot of land that we could locate
about
now.
West Tennessee.
And that's not here.
And
But there is a pilot program here. That he talked
And Becky Duncan Massey,
Right.
state senator, has been pushing this. One of the many advocates, former county commissioner, was as well.
And that fit in. Susan and I were largely in agreement because that local city-county collaboration included mental health for me, but along with the other problems that are related to health care, homelessness, and policing. And it's interesting, policing was a little calmer by the time we got through 2024 than it was in 23 and maybe even 22 with the transition to Chief Paul Noel. And although it's heated up a little bit lately, there are a couple stories brewing. I know that John's following that might not look favorably on one or more of the departments, but it kind of played out like I thought. It's still very important.
Don, you made this point and have really throughout the last couple of years. You have two very divergent mayors when it comes to politics. India Kincannon, Democrat, and then Glenn Jacobs is a Republican. But they seem to be able to get along and do some of the big issues well together.
They do, and it's nice because we've had certainly very contentious relationships between county mayor, formerly county executive, and city mayor. And despite being divergent politically, Glenn Jacobs governs a little more as a libertarian, centrist, conservative. He probably, the fact I even uttered the word centrist I hope I don't get body slammed when I see him in the courthouse, but he tweets differently. He governs a little more moderately, and that jives with Mayor Kincannon. They get things done.
It's nice when you're in your second term, you can sort of chill out a little bit more too.
Yes.
And both of them are doing that. And definitely I've noticed with Mayor Kincannon, looks like a lot more,
Well, and
she's more
again,
chill.
the IQ levels on both county commission and city council have gone up by 20 points.
We're going to take a break here on Inside Tennessee and back with how they did at the state level, making some predictions for 2024. We'll revisit those when we come back. Back on Inside Tennessee, let's stick with the local level. We talked about who you predicted. All right, let's go quickly to your winners. Susan, who would it be?
For 2024,
Yep.
local is Dondi Plowman. This is the woman, their chancellor, that took on the NCAA and won. She's had 60,000 applicants coming to the University of Tennessee. Athletics is doing great under her tutelage and Danny White. And I mean, UT everywhere.
David
in
killed
UT.
Goliath in that one, and
Yeah,
she was David
yeah.
and Goliath.
And the whole campus is a construction
I
site.
talked to her this week, and she said what's been really interesting is that the conservatives, sort of the MAGA folks, have really supported her because she took on the NCAA.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm sorry
And she
about
survived the. You remember at the start of the school year, everybody was like, "This parking thing is going to freak everybody out."
Right.
Actually, it's
Didn't-
worked out okay, I
No,
guess.
she's been a superstar. It's amazing.
You had Judge Sanchez. Who was your overall winner?
I'm going to do, I have two, and I'm going to take a moment of personal privilege. And my first one is you.
What?
You. And it's over the Service and Sacrifice series. You have done a spectacular job in this community.
Sucking up.
No, I'm not. John will hurt me every chance he gets the rest of the show. But that has been a spectacular thing for this community. And this is one of those things that's always been hard for Susan and I Peg. But I thought that my second one, I am going to take a moment of personal privilege. 25 years ago, my father moved to this community. And he has served this community since then. And he served as a bailiff. He is a retired Master Chief in the Navy, and he passed away this week. And a lot of people in this town knew him, and he lived to serve, and he did a good job.
Mr. Bosch.
That's
We'll
right.
Say hi to Mr. Bosch over
Thank
the
you.
courthouse.
We're grateful for that, Don.
Thank you.
And we're also grateful for the pins. He sold many
We've
of
got
these
pins.
He
pins.
was quite the artisan and the huckster as well. So
Can I jump in on service and sacrifice?
Yes.
This is probably going to annoy you, so I'm glad
He
we're
didn't know I was
friends.
doing this, so.
No, I want John to do a book based on all
his-
of his stories
yeah.
because he has done some amazing stories, just great stuff. That's not just East Tennessee. That's got a whole global focus.
That's right.
I would agree with
I'll
that.
help you with it.
I would agree
I'll do
with
whatever you want to do, but you've got a book.
Now let's go to the
Thank you.
losers, by God. You're
Thank
not
you.
on that list yet.
Okay, let's go to the losers. You both had Daniel Herrera. Who was it locally?
Well, this year I had the folks that supported City Council Amendment 2 that was on the ballot in November.
Good pick.
That was a close race. I mean, it was very close, but and it was fairly controversial. You had folks on both sides, wanted to expand to regional at large, but as we ended up keeping it as it is, and so you had some losers that supported that. But that was kind of a big deal for the city.
I can be quick. Gay Street Bridge. It got worse.
Yeah.
It's the loser. Our community is worse for it. We're not going to have it for a long time.
There's no even hint of
No,
when it's going to
no.
get fixed.
How about the issue, Don? Let's stick with
So
you.
similar to Susan, the Amendment 2, I think it's the issue of the year because it really does, I've kind of studied it and come around a little bit on it, that it really does protect the community vote, meaning the sub-communities, the neighborhoods, the precinct votes, by allowing both the primary and the general to be only selected from that community. It's going to ensure some minority representation. I think that really, in a slow year, is the issue of the year.
You had mental health, Susan. What do you stick with?
Mine for this year was Advance Knox. This was the plan,
Yep.
land use and transportation plan. It's got 79,000 new residents expected by 2020. And so the county had to look at some way we
I helped
deal
her
with
come up with that.
That was
So-
a good
Well,
one.
we also had a little drama right there at the end.
the
If
end.
you
At the
remember,
end.
courtesy of
The
Farragut.
ghost
Yep.
of 15.
Yep.
All right, we've got 2 minutes to work through the state. We have your predictions from last year, but let's talk about who your winner is this
Okay,
year.
I'm going to surprise you a little bit because he's our local mayor. but he's been traveling the state. This is Glenn Jacobs. He's go to the Paris Fish Fry. He's been to the Davidson County Picnic. He's been to every Lincoln Day dinner in East Tennessee.
He was in Iowa.
He was in
January.
Iowa with Donald Trump and would love to have his endorsement, I'm sure. But he is my state winner because he's done really well.
Your winner.
Gloria Johnson, you know, she had a free swing at the U.S. Senate, obviously did not prevail, but also kept her seat in the state house. While it's a small voice because of the numbers, she is one of the strongest voices in the Democratic contingent in the state house.
Your loser.
Mine? This one was easy for me. It's a tie between Frank Nicely and Ken Yeager. Frank Nicely.
For different reasons.
Different reasons, yes. Frank, longtime fixture in Nashville, got beat by voucher money, and then Ken Yeager. And I'm a criminal defense lawyer. I do feel for Ken Yeager, arrested for DUI, very embarrassing. He's 78 years old, and not a good way to end your career.
Susan, your loser at the state.
State level is Congressman Mark Green. This is a congressman who was going to run for governor, and everybody thought he'd be the front runner. His wife wrote a letter to all the other congressmen saying that he was having an affair with a young woman. And I think it's probably tanked his career, at least his run for the governor.
Hadn't heard Trump very much, so maybe he'll survive it.
Well, he might. He did get reelected, I will say that.
30 seconds. Your issue. You both had vouchers last year. What is it?
Well, I think we both agreed on this. It's a Hurricane Helene and the damage that was done.
We couldn't have predicted that, obviously, but that was just so massive and monumental that, and the effect it's going to have in Upper East Tennessee for a very long time.
All right, we're back on track, and we're going to be back with the national look at who was Don and Susan's national politics of the year. Yeah, the suspense is killing everyone.
Not a hard reach on this one.
Back on Inside Tennessee, great to have my colleague John North back, and of course Don and Susan, one of our favorite shows of the year. We're on to the national look. Again, you had some 2024 predictions, but let's talk first about who is your winner of National Politician of the Year, Susan.
Well, for this year, duh.
Yeah.
It's Donald Trump.
DJT.
I mean, the man had, 9 indictments. He was
Survived
convicted
an
felon. He had 2
assassination
attempted assassination attempts. Nobody thought he could win, and he carried every swing state. He won the popular vote as well as the Electoral College.
Don?
I agree.
We need to save this moment.
We
that
need
just
this.
became a meme.
That was not a blooper. That was not a
34
blooper.
felony convictions, a civil finding for sexual assault, secret documents at Mar-a-Lago, racist comments and tropes through his entire campaign, and the guy gets elected after getting beat 4 years ago. It's a political story unlike any we'll probably ever see in our lifetimes.
And I just want to revisit who you thought would be the political winners, because this is interesting.
This is good.
Susan, you had Michelle Obama, thinking that.
Because I said the Democrat Party will not allow Joe Biden to run. Because it was obvious to me
That was
he
in
had
January. I just want to point this out to our viewers. This was on in January 1.
I thought he had significant mental decline. You could see it, and I really felt strongly they would not. Don disagreed with me about that.
I did. I do not think in January it was as severe as we saw by the time the Trump-Biden debate occurred. I think there was a decline through the year. I think there were moments, but you can say that about, frankly, half of Congress that's over 70 right now. And but I said Joe Biden, and I was wrong.
So let's go to your loser of the year. Who is it?
The most punchable face in politics, as somebody said, Matt Gaetz.
Matt Gaetz.
Talk about, he was the front of the MAGA coalition, and he now is fighting off a release of a terrible report about his behavior that should, frankly, get him indicted.
And don't you think they knew it all along? Surely to goodness they couldn't have been that serious about throwing him up there.
This is a testament to how much the Republicans dislike Matt Gaetz.
Susan,
No comment.
Who is your loser of 2024?
Well, I have 2.
Go
One
ahead.
would be Joe Biden, and the other is Kamala Harris. But in saying that, you've got to say the Democrat Party. I mean, they waited way too late to dump Joe Biden. And here is a guy that's kind of given his whole career, and George Clooney, who cares, comes out with this editorial about him, and then it sort of got the ball rolling.
Oh, if he came out with one for Trump, you'd love him.
Oh, not necessarily, but I think, I mean, part of me felt sorry for Joe Biden because of the way they actually did him. And then they didn't have time to pick a formidable candidate. Nobody liked Kamala Harris before
That's
she
not
became.
true.
That's not Don. The
She got
Democrats
48% of the vote.
I'm
Somebody
talking
liked
about
her.
before she became the candidate.
Okay.
It was very negative comments about her.
There
And then
were.
she became the candidate.
And she became a viable candidate. It was not a blowout.
She was
This was not
viable.
Nixon McGovern.
I did not say that, but I think Biden in this case was definitely the loser.
Yeah, so similar vein. I mean, I think the issue of the year was Joe Biden's late withdrawal and what it did, and I think if President Biden had said early, a la sort of LBJ, that getting out, and although that didn't work out well for the Democrats then either, I'm not going to run again. Whatever we would have been able to have a convention. Vet our people. Maybe Vice President Harris would have come through that, and or not, and it could have been somebody else emerge. But everybody would have been battle tested for it, and our party would have been stronger. It was a mistake, and we'll learn from it. And I'm looking forward to coming back.
And Susan, your issue of 2024 was?
Well, there were several, but I think the border, the immigration issue really was strong. You know, last year I think Don and I both said abortion would be. It never materialized.
He said the wars
we did.
overseas, but
Yeah.
you made that point about abortion because you were thinking that was the
I
one
thought it would
issue
be.
that was
You
really
thought
going to
it,
hurt.
frankly, was going to tank the Republican
I
Party
did.
top down,
I really
and we all did at some degree.
And it turned out that really the border and immigration and the economy, of course. The economy was huge because gas prices were high, food prices were high.
Well, and I said this to you, rent.
Yes.
Rent.
Yes.
There are a lot of people that have to pay rent, and it went way up,
Yes.
and they were reminded of that every month.
Day. Well,
when
every
they had
time you
to
went
write
to the
that check.
grocery store, you were paying
Rent.
triple for a lot of products.
There was an old comedy routine, you probably saw it on YouTube, the rent's too high.
Yeah.
That was for sure this year.
Yeah, and I stand by. I mean, the wars in the Middle East and Ukraine are still front and center. So I think that pick I made last year has proven to be true as well.
So we're going to come back and talk about the politician of the year. You always do local, state, national, but then we just talk more broadly.
This is
Sometimes
it.
it's the same thing.
We've had people not from the U.S.
Yes. So we'll be back with that and get you set for next week, which is Prediction Week. We always love that one. Here we go. We're talking football, and Dennis Francis, who is sitting right here as Buffalo Bills, will always have a place with us. We miss him dearly. But we're going to move to the Politician of the Year in 2024. And Susan, let's start with you. Who is your overall Politician of the Year?
Again,
Yeah.
It has to be Donald Trump. You know, Time's Man of the Year, which shocked me, frankly.
So was
They were-
Hitler. Pointing that out, true fact.
Well, who also owns Time? Isn't it some kind of, I don't know.
I don't know who owns
As
it.
somebody,
These
they've
days, I'm
shifted
like,
right, I know,
okay.
and it's a magazine that has shifted right. Now, it's certainly not owned by MSNBC.
Yeah, but there's just no question. I mean, I don't think any of us a year ago would have predicted what happened.
Which just it just goes to show you how we just haven't been reading this well.
Right.
Period.
That's right.
We've not been reading this
Right.
well. We were wrong.
Yeah.
So many people were wrong. Pundits were wrong.
Yeah.
Wrong.
Yeah.
You had Congressman Burchett. How
I
would
did
you assess
before.
his year?
Well, I think he's had an interesting year, to say the least. He started off with Kevin McCarthy, and he was one of the hated eight that they called it, who voted to oust the speaker. And he's pals with Matt Gaetz and AOC, and Tim. For his conservatism, does make friends across the aisle. And so that kind of keeps him in pretty good stead. But
He says that, but when I talk to him, they say, "Oh, he's just a goof that's harmless and doesn't get anything done." And he makes us laugh, but he's not a player.
well, he, because of some of the votes he's taken, he's probably not ever going to be the committee
No.
chairman,
Committee.
because of that. But he's had There were some people who tried to get an opponent against him. It did not work.
Did not work.
He got a huge margin. In fact, I think maybe the highest margin he's gotten in his reelection this time. And so, word to the wise out there who are trying to find an opponent for him in 2 years. You know, he is very popular among his constituents in Knox County as well as the other counties.
It's the out counties that he does really well in.
He does really well.
And he has stuck to his principle of not voting for more government
you've got to
spending.
give him
The debt ceiling.
props for that.
He hangs with
votes
that.
against
That's
it.
what you were talking about. Does
I
a
don't
vote
think there are
where-
any props
Yes.
to be had for that. It's not responsible governance.
All right, let's move to your winner, Don. Overall politician of the year, who is it?
Hakeem Jeffries, the House Majority Leader for the Democrats. The House is a very odd place right now. Of course, there's just a couple of vote difference between the Republicans and the Democrats. The difference is the Republicans are not a unified party, and Susan, I think, would agree to that. We've got the Burchett MAGA contingent over here that, you know, is just contrarian, and then sort of the core Republicans. But the Democrats have held together lockstep. So, you know, you say, oh, the Republicans have control of the House. No, they don't. And
Five.
Hakeem,
By 5 votes.
yeah, well, 4. You've got 1 now that hadn't voted
Yeah.
since July. We just found out this week. But Hakeem Jeffries has kept the party lockstep, just as his predecessor Nancy Pelosi did. And they, listen, the Republicans are going to have to come to the table. Trump's going to have to come to the table. If he wants to get anything done, he's going to have to come to the Democrats.
You had Gavin Newsom down. How do you think he is nationally still?
Not strong. Not as strong as he was at the beginning of last year or the end of last year, or the beginning of this year, end of last year. I think he still could resurrect, but he's a few points lower than he was a year ago at this
I
time.
think that debate that he had on Fox with Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, was sort of his Titanic. He really did not do well. And
I think
it's
a
the
lot
first
of the
time we'd
pundits
seen him.
disagree. I think they thought both of them did fairly well. At least that was certainly my impression, irrespective of the philosophical differences. I do not think that. I thought Newsom did fine. I thought that DeSantis did okay.
Yeah, I thought he did well, but I think after that it was just his first national exposure where we'd seen him in a debate.
Your big loser prediction for 2024 was Joe Biden, Susan.
Yes,
who
it
is
was.
it in reality?
Joe Biden.
Okay.
She just likes being able to say that over and over.
Several times.
And
Yours was Donald
Remind
Trump.
me that we have a supermajority problem in Nashville. Mine was Trump, and I was wrong. Again,
Please
what
get
John
this.
said.
Look, can we get this on? We're taping this. Right?
I own my mistakes.
You both had issue would be abortion. That would be the national issue of the year. What do you
It
say?
wasn't, as we said.
It was for
earlier.
the first half, but it did sort of flatten out.
Yeah,
So it's
it
still
did.
important, and
It really was. It really became the economy.
and it may resurrect if, you know, they put the ban in terms of being able to mail abortion drugs through the old Comstock Act, and if that happens, we're going to see another revolt on this issue. I think. You want our issue of the year? What I think it is, what it's been. The odd messaging by both parties, and this is what I mean. For the Republicans, the fact that Trump can message racist, sexist, vile things, terrible things, and win. It's a sad indictment maybe of some of the people, not all, that are voting for him and believe in this, and we have a long way to come as a country. And then the Democrats missing the mark on the economy, stupid, just as my mentor Bill Clinton and James Carville say, it's the economy, stupid, and they missed. They tried to tell everybody that it was really good when, as John says, rent's really high, food's really high, gasoline's really high. It may not be all the problem of the presidency, but it affects it.
Susan, last 30 seconds.
Well, no question, it was the economy, and I think the border too. Both of those issues were really strong on Republicans. What happened was the Republicans picked up blacks, Hispanics, young people, which was shocking to me.
They made inroads into it. They didn't win majorities out of it, but they did pick up some.
A lot.
We hope you join us next week. That's the prediction show. It's always fun. We'll see you then. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.